just one big story, isn't it?
Welcome to the Story Connection. I'm your host, Donna Wilberg. Well, my guest this evening is not only the amazing author of A Late Bird, he is an American that has a very strong message to give to the American people, and I'm so thrilled to have him on the show tonight. Welcome, Jason Kraus.
That is perfect. I'm Jason Kraus. I am an American. Perfect.
Yes, you are.
Absolutely.
And we're going to start out talking about your fabulous book, Late Bird. The cover's great, the story's great, to actually grasp the fact that a lot of it, that most of it is the truth, is just makes your heart go pitter-patter. So before we launch into the book, let's talk about you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Jason Kraus, and as I say all the time, I'm an American. I have the greatest thing that ever happened to me happened at birth. It was to be born in the United States of America. It's the greatest home field advantage known to man. Secondly, and I, again, thank you, Mom and Dad, I was born to two loving parents. And because of that, I was given the opportunity to be, see, feel, dream, do whatever I wanted to do. And so I did. I took the talents that were given to me from what I call the big fella upstairs, and I worked as hard as I could, and life has been very good to me. And because of that, specifically because of that, it's my time to serve. It's my time to give. My parents, I remember many times growing up watching my parents continue to give things to other people that when they struggled, and even when they were struggling. Mm-hmm. And I learned that from them. And it's ingrained in me to do these things. And so I'm here now. We're ready to go. And as I tell across America, we're here shoulder to shoulder to serve the United States of America, gathering one voice at a time.
Going back to the book, from the beginning, from the time you were a child, your character, Falcon Sane, and we're going to talk about the names because the names are so cool in this book, you know. But the characterization, you know, it's all the things, the trials and tribulations, all the things that you went through as a child, you would think would break most kids.
Again, from an adult perspective, probably.
Yeah.
From my perspective, it was get up, let's go. So as a child, that's actually where the title came from. Mm-hmm. I was labeled. That's why I hate labels. I was labeled a late bird. When I was in second grade, they brought us into school and they tested us, which is fine. We all need to know. Everybody might need some special help. But when they finished testing us, rather than helping the children that needed the extra encouragement or time, they labeled us. And so I was labeled a late bird, which meant I was smarter than everybody else. I needed to come to school with that group. We'd come to school later. But they ended up, the other group, they kept them in, they called them early birds. And so back then, the terminology back in the 70s was, I think everybody can remember, was retarded. And so when the early birds were released to come out to play, immediately they were looked at as being stupid. And they were judged that way, and they were dealt with that way. And it caused horrible friction amongst children who were just children,
right?
Just wanting to play. And I remember it specifically, and it caused problems. And it was, bullying happens anyway, but when adults make it easier for the bullies, we got a problem.
Yeah, there was one incident in there that you talked about. You were being beat up, and you kept looking towards the playground monitor for help. And why don't you finish the?
I was coming in. It happened earlier on in life. I was walking with a group of other children, and there was a bunch of bullies, and they were beating this little kid down. I was young, and so we went by, and we just ignored it like a herd of animals leading the weak behind. And when I went home that night, and I've told this story multiple times, I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing that little kid who was the same age that I was, but he was crying, he was screaming, and nobody helped him. And so the next time that occurred, I went over and did the best that I could with the skills that I had. And I said, hey, why don't you just leave him alone? Well, they're looking for their next victim. There was 6, 7, 8 of them. And so they turned on me. And it's in the book. There's a lot of profanity because that's what happened. But as they turned and circled me, he was able to get up and run away. And I've told this story before because I remember specifically seeing it because that's what I wanted. Actually, I wanted him to not be hurt.
Right.
But I would have appreciated he came back to help me. So it didn't happen that way. I was given choices, and it was lay down or get beaten down. And so eventually, as I was attempting to what I was going to do, I kept looking for an adult, because that's what they're out there for, the recess monitor. And I finally saw her, and she actually put her whistle into her mouth. I can see this plain as day right now. And she looked, and we looked at each other, and we had that eye-to-eye connection. And then she dropped the whistle out of her mouth and turned and walked away.
Oh my
and
gosh.
They enclosed on me, picked me up, slammed me to the ground, and told me if I didn't lay still and let one of them beat me, then they were all going to beat me. And so I had a choice to make, and so as it says in the book, lay bird, lay down.
So that kind of set the tone for your integrity level, because that didn't stop you. That didn't change, that didn't stop you from being the person that you felt you needed to be.
It didn't, I used to say this quite a bit, I was the sweetest, loving child until I went to school. And once school took place, once I laid down, I never laid down again. I didn't win every fight, but I never laid down again. And growing up, people understand that now. When I tell that story, there is not a person across America that doesn't say, I understand.
Yeah.
Even the bullies understand.
Yeah.
And that's the purpose of why we're here right now. It's time to stand up. It's time to stand up. We can't continue on with what's happening in America right now. So that's why I wrote this book.
Well, it's a very good message, and there's a lot of it going on right now. So not only are we in need, whether it's fact or fiction, of something to kind of lead the way, kind of reshape our way of thinking, but also to imagine that there's a person out there that is willing to go that distance to become a leader in this country right now is just mind-blowing. Well, I'm just... I think, in reading the book and the tracks that you've laid and in the life that you've led, a hero is the first thing that comes to mind. But to think that there's actually people out there, because we all have it inside of us. We all have that goodness, that need to do right things, be it the circumstances that change us or, the environment, whatever it is that prevents us from making that move towards that good place. Having someone to lead us there would just be awesome.
Yes, well, that's why I'm here. My life it's been an interesting life. I have no complaints. I've had my experiences. I've learned from my experiences. One of the things that was very early for me was I knew I could not follow. I could not follow. You could tell me this is the way to go. My parents would tell me this is the way to go. Everybody on the planet, Jason, this is the way to go. I'm going the other way, just because. And so because of that, there's a certain strength that builds when you understand. Not oh, there's nobody else but you to count on. It's you can count on you.
Yeah.
That's it. And so through the experiences of dealing with much larger adults, much larger children, understanding that, okay, no matter what, you'll survive this. And pretty soon you're gonna start leading them through ethical behavior. That's how this works. I talk to people and I say, look, when we really talk about the horrendous part of human behavior, war, nobody wins in a war. One side just loses a lot more. And we need to collectively, we need to be better. It's in us. We all know what the right thing to do is. Nobody questions that. I worked with inmates. Right? I mean, I've seen some of the worst. I talk about it in there. An individual who killed a little boy, did horrendous things. He even understood that what he did was wrong. We know. We just have to make sure that we do the right thing. It's very simple. These aren't difficult concepts, but we're allowing today's politicians. Politician, the word, it's Latin. Poli means of the people, to serve the people. Tick or Tissian, and most people are familiar with tick, is a parasite. There's also another definition out there of politician, to lie to the people. So regardless whichever you like, lie to the people or suck off of the people, that's what politicians do. That's why I will never be a politician. I'm not interested in being a politician. I'm here to serve America in whatever capacity America needs. We need leadership.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to your characters.
Okay.
Because, I mean, we're going to talk more about this. We're going to actually do 2 episodes because we have so much to touch on.
Wonderful.
But let's talk about the characters in your book, because I love the names. And you said there's a story behind the names of your main character is Falcon Sane, with his little brother Dieter, and the mom was Rachel, and the dad was Mitch. So talk about how you came up with those names.
Okay, so I'll start with, how about if I start with Mitch?
Okay.
Okay, so Mitch, my father's name, of course, isn't Mitch. And as I was creating the character, I was using his real name as I was writing the book. And I called him up one day and said, okay, here's what I have going on, and here's what I want to do, and with your permission, I said, but I need to use a different name, so what name would you like? And he said, well, can I think about it? I said, sure, think about it. Well, we both like Vince Flynn novels. Vince Flynn's, well, he actually has passed away. And so he's just a wonderful author. And my dad called me up the next day and said, hey, and the main character of almost all of Vince Flynn's novels is named Mitch. And so Vince Flynn had passed away. And so as a tribute to a wonderful author who loved America, my dad said, call me Mitch.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it was fantastic. So that, I mean, it just fit perfectly, especially with my dad. My father's an Army veteran. He was a medic, and you know, he's one of the most modest people on the planet, and just unbelievable. Just an unbelievable person. Forget about man or woman, just an unbelievable person. So that's Mitch.
Okay.
My brother Dieter, when he was born, I couldn't say, his real name was Eric. I couldn't say Eric. I wasn't even 2 years old. And so they kept calling him the baby. So I kept saying Dee Dee. And eventually they turned that into, it stretched. Everybody started calling him Dee Dee because I called him Dee Dee. And pretty soon the family started calling him Dieter. And so he couldn't even speak, and he went from Eric to Dieter. And he was called Dieter, I think, until he was 18 years old. So so that's how that occurred. So he's not called Dieter anymore. But.
Well, talk about a story about 2 cute little kids. I mean, I was just touched. The fun that you guys had, just the camaraderie between brothers, and the characterization of your brother with the things that he liked and the things that you're aware of that he liked. It was very touching. It's it's an amazing story of family unity.
Thank you.
Which I absolutely love. And it escalates into more heroic things and the rest of your life, which, you know, it's hard to believe that people live the kind of lives that, you know, your family. I mean, you guys really went through a lot.
We moved a lot. Yeah. We moved a lot, and because of that, for different reasons. Yeah. I guess my brother and I mean, he was my brother. Mm-hmm. He's my little brother, so he was my responsibility to make sure. We got into plenty of fights, but that was fine. But you couldn't touch my little brother. That's, you know, it's my job to keep him safe. And so because we moved so much and there was so much friction going in from school to school, I think we would have bonded anyway, just because we're brothers. But when you have those things occur, and especially one specific thing that did happen, where he joined me on the Hill, and it's just, you know, there's no words for that. It's it's loyalty. Yeah. It's loyalty, and that's the most important. There's many different things people cherish in life. Through my entire life, if I can count on you, then you can always count on me.
Your dad, did he really did he drive the truck with you guys through papers from the back?
With his broken leg, yes, he did. Yeah.
You know.
Yes.
I don't want to give too much away of the story because you know, people need to read this for themselves and enjoy it the way I have. But to think that he went how long with a broken leg, and
he worked He drove a tractor trailer with a broken leg.
After
After they said it was
medical-
healed. Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just
Yeah.
that floored me.
Well, you should. I mean, I just saw him a couple days ago. He still. Well, they cut 3 inches out of his leg, so he'll never have that again.
Yeah.
But he still limps. But as far as he's concerned, he's a lucky man.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, just a wonderful role model. I could be here. We could be here for the next 20 years. I could tell you stories about my father giving and doing for others. He wouldn't want me to tell you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just amazing just to watch. I remember in a snowstorm, my father getting out of a car because there was a guy on the side of the road, and we took him into town, and there was really nowhere for him to go. Not that we lived in large cities, and so we dropped him where he could spend the night, and then my dad reached in, and we were struggling. It wasn't like we had money, and my dad reached in his pocket and pulled out everything he had and put it in. His name was Herbie. He put it in Herbie's pocket. And I'm watching that from the car because I know we need that money. Mm-hmm. And my dad got back in the car and I thought, okay. So I say it all the time. I strive to be half the man that my father is. And that would be just fine with me.
So when you look at, fast forward to being an adult and looking at the way the world is and how we treat one another, what comes to mind on how you can kind of level the playing field or make it better for people?
I think, and that's the terminology. We need to stop thinking of things as equal or fair. Mm-hmm. We need to think of excellence. Mm-hmm. We need to dream. This is the United States of America. We don't need things to be fair. We need things to be awesome. Mm-hmm. People get out of bed, they can barely contain themselves because they get to go out and do anything that they want. This is the opportunity here. I mean, free will, everybody around the world, it doesn't matter where you're born, you were born with free will.
Correct.
It's a God-given thing. What you do with it is completely up to you, but freedom, that's an understanding amongst citizens. If you're a little girl born in Iran or Iraq or Pakistan, you might be born with free will, but you don't have freedom. And your life is horrendous. I mean, horrendous. Here, I mean, what is the problem? Get up, get going. There's so many opportunities. We have dropped the understanding. I say this, it's kind of a funny statement. I was teasing a woman one time. She was talking to me about equal rights. Mm-hmm. I looked at her and I said, whoa, you got this all wrong. I said, you don't want to be equal to a man. You're coming down the chain. You guys are the better gender. If you're actually equal, no. Strive. Go be whatever you want to be. Don't look at men as the equalizer. So I'm a man. You got to be kidding me. So she laughed, and then hopefully people start to understand. But I'm a firm believer in the individual. Mm-hmm. We are a constitutional republic. We've been fed that we are a democracy. We are not. We are not a democracy. Democracy takes and protects the group. And so whoever has a larger group, a minority, basically has no rights. That's what a democracy is. We are a constitutional republic. Now, most people don't know this, and even in school, they don't teach it that much anymore. I don't know why, but it's in our pledge. Mm-hmm. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. There's no democracy. Constitutional republic protects you as an individual. Your individual rights. So when you get up in the morning, are you thinking about the 35 people down the street? No. You're thinking, okay, I'm going to do this. What can I do? That's what the Constitution gives us. That's why we've only been here a couple hundred years. We're less than 5% of the population on the planet. And we're it. We're the place everybody wants to come. Everybody wants to be. No. Get me to America as fast as I can. Come on, there's billions of other people. They haven't figured it out. We got lucky. I said it here on the show. The luckiest thing, the best thing is to be born in the United States of America. There is nothing greater. So if you have that kind of opportunity, what's the problem? Let's go. Don't be equal. Be fantastic. Be everything you can. Oh, yeah, come on. And then help others. Uh-huh. This is a great life. I'm sitting here with you. This is fantastic. Who doesn't want to do this? So that's me.
I love it. Well, and it's so true. And to meet someone who has that kind of passion and that kind of thinking is so refreshing.
Thank you.
Because, I blame the media. My husband turns on Rush Limbaugh and Tom Sullivan, and I just go, you know, you feel like there's nothing right in the world. You know, we're spoon-fed a lot of this negativity, or the finger pointing, or the blame game, and all this other stuff. So,
well, it works for specific agendas.
yes, it does.
It doesn't work for mine. I'm a freedom person.
Yeah.
This is, and it's easy to understand. I don't need to explain freedom. As long as you are taking care of yourself, you're not hurting anybody else. God bless. Have a great life.
Yeah.
Do it to it. But you have to take care of yourself. Freedom comes with responsibility. Freedom doesn't mean you don't have to work. Freedom doesn't mean that, oh, somebody will take you. That's not what it means. Freedom. You have choices.
What was it that you gleaned from your childhood, the injustices you saw and different things? What went through your mind as you're experiencing this, you're watching it happen to other kids? What did you say to yourself? Did you say, when I grow up, I'm going to change the world?
No. When I watched those things happen, I dove in the middle of them.
Okay.
And because of that, I ended up with chipped teeth, missing things, bleeding. No, there was no, it was a very, even as a child, I was very present. I'm right in the moment. I did like to daydream. I did like that, but I think that's very healthy. So no, I was very present, especially when physical altercations are happening, when there was always, unfortunately, seemed to be always the bigger kids I was having to deal with.
Yeah.
So when you're getting harmed, when you're getting punched, you're not thinking about changing the world. You're thinking about, how can I survive this? Yeah. So I had to start using my mind as an understanding. And a lot of kids, and I've worked with a lot of kids, and you hear stories about people saying that they start to go into their own world. People of serious trauma and abuse will talk about how they just kind of check out because that's the only way to survive this. I did it a little bit differently. I stayed right in the moment. I stayed right there. I felt it, every single bit of it. And then I kept finding ways to get to how can I make this better? How can I make this better? But then there's just a part of me, especially growing up. I was a stubborn little kid. I just was, and I hated to lose. And so part of fighting, you can get to a point, if you hate to lose and you're stubborn enough, it doesn't matter how big the kid is on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, when you walked in the door, I was really shocked that you were so tall, because reading, you know, how small you were compared to the other kids, you know, I didn't expect you to be so tall now, but then I remember you had a growth spurt, you know.
Fortunately.
Yeah, was it 6th grade?
It was, yeah, right about
Yeah,
that. I
yeah.
became almost an adult. It was kind of a funny thing, because I went to school so early that I was 12 and I was just as tall as most men. And even though I was still playing, I was with kids, but then again, even as a child, I was an adult. I was constantly looking at how to make things better. How can I? It was just who I was, and I like to make money. And so as a little kid, I was always trying to find different ways to do things.
So does the educational system bother you? I mean, is that one of the things that you, okay?
It's horrible. I mean, first of all, putting aside everybody's political views, if you put 25 kids in a room with a teacher, that's just too many. She's not going to, or he or she is not going to have enough time to give the kids that needs it. But we're not doing that anymore. We're stacking 45 and 50 kids into these rooms. And we're expecting these teachers who are getting less and less education at their level. I know, I have the degree. I said it a million times. I graduated with a psychology degree. I walked out and I smiled and I said, I am an educated man and I am trained to do nothing. The only reason that I was hired for any of the jobs that I went with is because of the skills that I acquired back working for my parents, back when I was a kid. Things that, well, they called it work. We were forced to do it. But
Which you enterprised on, by the way.
Yes, as much as I could. Absolutely. Earn it and save it.
There you go.
It's very simple. No, teachers are getting a raw deal. And unfortunately, because of the way the union structures are set up, there's so many systemic breakdowns. The public school system, people seem to think it's for the teachers. It isn't. It's for the kids. That's the whole point of the public school system, that the kids can come in and get an education. But we've decided to systemically let so many things break down, border, all kinds of different financial issues. The state of California is broke. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows it. So the unions have now, unfortunately, the point of a teacher's union, as we all know, is to protect the teacher. That's their only job. They're not there for the kids. So you can't have things in place that are not benefiting what the point is. Everything has to be about the children. And it's not. And these poor teachers they're suffering. They're suffering. How are you going to teach 25, 30, 40, 50 kids in a room? And some of them don't even want to be there.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we're now putting metal detectors in front of schools. That's the answer?
Yeah.
That's reactive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, we're almost out of time. Why don't you give your information?
The purpose for me being here is to make a difference in America. I sat down 2 years ago to write the book. That's the whole purpose. So I would appreciate as many people reading as possible, but you can find me at aleadernotapolitician.com. And there's columns and videos, and all those are free. And come aboard, give us a hand. We're here to serve you, and there's plenty of us out there across America now. So God bless the United States of America. Get involved.
Well, let's give some information about the Story Connection, shall we?
The Story Connection airs the second and fourth Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Our companion show, Paranormal Connection, airs the first and third Thursdays of each month. Each episode repeats the following Friday at 1:30 p.m. and Saturday at 5:30 a.m. You can watch these programs online at the same air times by going to accesssacramento.org and clicking Watch 17, or you can watch us on Comcast Channel 17 in the Sacramento region and on AT&T Channel 99. For information on upcoming shows and previous Story Connection guests, go to storyconnectiontv.blogspot.com. You can contact us at storyconnectiontv@gmail.com, and don't forget, join us on Facebook, become a friend, and become a fan.
So we've only got a couple minutes left. One of the things that I would like you to give your parting words, what you would like to say to the people out there.
I am here to serve the United States of America. That is it. That is the whole purpose.
I want everybody to stay tuned for part 2 of our interview with Jason Kraus. We're going to talk more about his book, Lightberg, and we're also going to talk a little bit more about, his stand on America and in what way he would like to serve. So with that, we're going to say good night.